Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. So Margot Robbie was asked about the long title of the Birds of Prey movie and she said, well, listen, the movie isn't a very serious movie, so we thought we would display that fact within the title. So Twitter has obviously erupted. Now, you can imagine the type of fans who are not happy are the fans of Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, because we were used to the kind of serious and deep and dark thing. But listen, I'm going to bring some clarity. Look, everything in life needs a balance. The DCEU, the worlds of DC, needs to have a balance. It needs to both be funny and it needs some depth. Now, let's be honest, even though Harley Quinn is a very dark character, if you watch the animated series, she's also hilarious, right? So you can understand that there will be an element of levity in this film. It doesn't mean just because it's not a very serious film that it's a sitcom or anything like that. So calm down, everyone. I'm still really looking forward to this film. But yeah, Harley Quinn hasn't always been a serious character. I think in Suicide Squad, that's as serious as the character gets, to be honest with you. What these people are going to do now is emulate the comics a lot more. This is what Jeff Johns is doing with his Green Lantern Corps movie. He'll do a new type of version and breathe life into the character, or characters, should I say. But it will be very comic book accurate. It will feel like a comic book movie. And the worlds of DC is going to feel that way going forward. That's why we saw Momoa in, the iconic Aquaman costume. Because if they didn't, they would have put him in some kind of different costume. I always said in Man of Steel they missed an opportunity. I love the MOS costume. I love the DCEU costume for Superman, but no one's ever put him into that action comics. I would, even in a backflash or a starting point, just so we can anthologise his life. I would do that if I was making a Superman film. Comic book fans deserve an element of respect. And I'm not saying when you make these films it should be exactly, stringently like a comic book story or anything like this. But there's certain elements from the comics that are so good, you should use them. And if you want butts on seats and if you want comic book fans to go and see your films, at least give some element of legitimacy and accuracy. Otherwise, it goes out the window. So even though I'm reading on Twitter, people who follow me on Twitter, a bit angry about this, I want you all to calm down and listen to Uncle Mike, because there's no issues here. Walter Hamada is the right guy. He's taking us to the right direction we want. You've seen the reactions to Aquaman. This is what we want. We need to suck people in first, let them enjoy the films, and then. And now we're seeing him building the worlds of DC foundations by bringing characters in like Blue Beetle and Shazam. These are all baby steps. This is just the beginning, but we need to get people back into this franchise because, quite frankly, I don't even know if people walked away. I think for the mainstream, Man of Steel was off-putting. I love the film. BVS, I love the film. Always have to get that in because people get a bit mad if you say anything negative without backing up that you actually love these films, which I do. But I'm always fair because there's millions of DC fans around the world and they deserve to see something that they want to see. We saw MOS, BVS, we liked it. But there's many people who didn't. We need a DC Universe movie franchise that represents everyone's wants and needs. Now, that's hard for the creatives, I admit it. This is why things like comic book movies or Doctor Who or James Bond, you never please everyone, and there's always an element of hate and disdain within the fandoms because that's it. You can't please everyone. And I think a lot of people are rejecting doing these movies now because they realise, especially creatives, that they cannot please everyone. And in the end, it becomes a bit of a toxic kind of environment because people who don't get what they want get disappointed. I think the problem now is it's getting very political, and that's why we're being let down, rather than them not having a character wear a hat that he or she wears in the comics or anything like that. They need to have a balance between representation and good old-fashioned entertainment and good characters that you care about. It's something I had when I grew up with through the 80s and even the 90s. In the 80s, I had J.R. Ewing. I had Michael Knight. I had Kit the Car. I had Hannibal Smith. You know, I had David Banner played by Bill Bixby, you know, one of the most iconic actors from that generation. So we were lucky, even though we had 3 or 4 TV channels, we had a lot more quality and we weren't weighed down by the politics of the situation. Now, sometimes people weren't represented in the right way, like African Americans, women. I understand that. But sometimes, even back then, women and minorities were represented quite well. I mean, I'm not saying it's blatantly there all the time, but what I'm saying to you, at least they didn't have politics weighing them down. It was just about the entertainment. It was just about the story. So I felt really spoiled. And I think at the beginning of 2000, when we were getting these great TV shows like 24 and Alias and Smallville, Prison Break and Lost, I felt that was a new generation, a new era, and it was very exciting. And when we first got Raimi's Spider-Man movies, I was really excited. And Singer's X-Men movies, it was a new era. And that was the beginning, really. This is when studios realised that superheroes were cool again and they could make they could make billions from them. And now we've got this era where everything seems to be kind of blockbuster. And we don't get many of the other films in Hollywood. We've lost that balance from Hollywood, haven't we? It's all blockbuster, it's all superheroes, it's all Star Wars. It's all Disney, it's all reboots because they're lazy now. They can't be bothered to be creative and use their imagination. But absolutely, I have no issue with this film being this Birds of Prey film being kind of funny. It will be on a level. It will absolutely be on a level. People just need to calm down and not get too excited because I can see it on Twitter already. Oh, right, well, I hope the characters are done well. Of course they will be. They've got good people involved. Margot Robbie has been involved in casting people, in getting the right producers. Her production company is involved. Now, I know some people would say, well, that could be problematic because what experience has she got behind the camera? You know, bringing producers in, bringing creatives in. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. This film could absolutely stink, but I don't think it will. I like the people who are involved. I think it's going to be excellent. And always remember, go and watch Batman the Animated Series. See Harley Quinn. And you tell me if she was that deep and that dark. No. Mainly, there was a lot of levity. She was really funny. And yeah, she is. She is a psychopath. She is. But it's done in a very clever way. So there are different versions of her, of course, where she's a bit more darker and deeper than she's in other versions. So it depends what version you want, really. But definitely this film is going to be a bit more laughs in it. They're gonna maybe look at the funnier side of the character. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everything has a balance. And we'll get the deeper and we'll get the darker films when the time is right. And don't forget, we've got to be fair here. You know, Man of Steel and BVS were pretty dark, pretty brooding. So we've had them. Now it's time to kind of represent the other side of the DC universe, the optimism, the fun. You know, because just because something's fun or funny, it doesn't mean it's going to be a bad film. We can't have everything our own way. What do you think, guys? Comment down below. Tell me, are you concerned with Margot Robbie's comments that Birds of Prey will be more of a not serious film? Or are you excited? Do you think Margot Robbie knows what she's doing? Share the video, like the video, please subscribe. And if you like it, if you like this channel, please spread the word.